What is up, everybody? This is JP representing jpfitnesspro.com. If you guys want one-on-one training, small group training, online training, or nutrition, meal plans, meal guides, please head on over to my website. That's the easiest way to contact me. Again, that's jpfitnesspro.com. Today's video is going to be about 4 exercises that I recommend you include into your workout program if you want stronger shoulders, more shoulder stability, better posture, and injury prevention of your shoulders. Now, some of these exercises are pretty popular. I'm just going to kind of include them because, again, I think that I'm trying to reiterate on that you should include them, but some of them aren't maybe done as often as they should be. All right, the first of these 4 exercises is going to be the face pull. You've probably heard this in other videos, and again, I think it's a great exercise. It's a very good exercise. Your rotator cuff is made up of 4 muscles: your subscapularis, your supraspinatus, your infraspinatus, and your teres minor. 3 of those muscles are on your upper back region. So again, the internal rotator, again, also chest helps with internal rotation, but of the rotator cuff, the subscapularis, I don't think that you really need to get much work in that area. So you don't need any more internal rotation. Again, due to the way most people's posture looks already, again, this is forward rounded shoulders, the way we sit, and just the activities that we do, video games, sitting at a desk working, on our phones. We don't need any more internal rotation. You're already going to get enough of that with the pressing exercises that you do. But for the 3 muscles of the rotator cuff that are on the back of your shoulder, the face pull is a good exercise to work those. And the face pull is also just good for a good upper back builder in general. One small tip that I think that you should include with your face pull is that wherever the cable is, you want it lower in relation to your body. And what I mean is that if the line of pull is this way, try to have the line of pull maybe about mid-torso. The reason being is some people have it kind of high, and when you have it a little lower, what happens is, especially in relation to your arm, the weight, the angle of resistance wants to internally rotate your arm when you're doing the face pull. Because it's a little bit lower. When you're doing the face pull, the line of resistance is at an angle, so it wants to yank your arm this way, and you have to externally rotate against this resistance specifically to do the exercise. So what this does is it actually challenges directly a few things, shoulder protraction and retraction. So this is definitely going to include the rhomboids and the traps, but on top of that, again, it's directly challenging external rotation if you have this slightly lower. So try not to have it at eye level. A lot of people do have it that way, and I'm not saying it's bad when you do it that way, but you're going to get that little bit extra when you have it at this level. So again, a face pull, you just stand right here, and then you just pull through to your face. It's pretty self-explanatory. For like actual in-depth technique, I'll probably do that in a different video. I'm just giving you guys these list of exercises I think you should include. All right, the second exercise that I think that you should include is an angled row. And by that is, you could use the same rope for this exercise, but you need it to be higher than you. So I would probably put it as high as the pulley can go, or just a clear maybe a foot or 2 taller than you. The reason why I think the angled row is a good exercise is because this line of resistance when you pull towards you, standing up, is going to directly challenge that down and back shoulder position that everyone always talks about. This is going to directly help with posture. When you strengthen the muscle groups, your traps and rhomboids to work in this exact position and be challenged in this exact position, it's gonna feel a lot easier and more natural to have your shoulder blades down and back. So again, you put the pulley pretty high, and then from here, you pull down and back. Again, because of this down and back, this line of resistance is directly challenging that motion that you need to have down and back. Because if I just let go, again, it's pulling directly opposite of what down and back is. So if you want to specifically strengthen that position of your shoulders down and back, you want the angle of resistance higher than you and at an incline going towards you. Doing a regular row is fine, but it's kind of like if you guys have ever seen a bicep curl, you'll tell people, some people will say to turn your wrist in. And I'm not saying that's not gonna contract your bicep more, but with you just turning your wrist on a bicep curl, that's not actually putting resistance against that churn. And then a tip for that would be to put your hand on the inside of the dumbbell. It's kind of like the same thing here. Is if you're doing a traditional row where the line of resistance is directly perpendicular to you, you're not directly challenging that down and back motion. Yes, you can physically think and squeeze your shoulder blades down and back, but that doesn't mean it's being directly challenged. So doing this angled row is going to kind of solve that. All right, the next exercise is, these last two actually are kind of very similar, but they're still slightly different, but they're pretty similar. So this one is just going to be, it is going to be like a side external rotation. I call it when I write it in my program, I call it a side ER. So what you do is you put it on some resistance. You're not going to go heavy on this one. You stand with the cable so that when you have the handle in your hand, it keeps your forearm directly parallel with the ground. So if you don't want the handle so low that you're like this, or so high that you're up here, you want it directly in line with your forearm, so your forearm is parallel with the ground. From here, all you do is you keep your elbow, you get a good shoulder blade position down and back. You keep your elbow at your side. You don't want your elbow coming off. It's very critical that in these last two exercises, you don't go that heavy. And the first two, you can overload them a little bit more than these exercises. These you want to go very light. Like right here, I'm only at 20 pounds, so you don't really have to do that much. So elbow tight at your side, shoulder blades down and back, and you just externally rotate out. Again, this is directly challenging that external rotation range position in general. So for example, if I were to just let go, the complete opposite of external rotation is internal rotation. So you want a line of resistance that's going to directly challenge what you're trying to get stronger at. If you want stronger external rotation, which works on those three muscles on your upper back, your supraspinatus, your infraspinatus, and your teres minor, you want something that's going to cause internal rotation, so you have to externally rotate against it. Again, obviously you would do this on both arms. The next one, again, is the same thing, except I call this a high external rotation. So instead of doing this to the side, you do this facing the cable and with your arm elevated. Now the same thing with this exercise, just like we did with the face pull, you want it slightly lower than what your arm's at. So maybe about mid-torso. So we could even go probably one lower. And again, you want this to be very light. So you have your arm high, and from here you just externally rotate. Again, same thing. This is targeting external rotation from a different position of the arm. Again, I always preach about it. I think exercise variation is good for hypertrophy. And when you're weightlifting and just lifting in general, I don't mean like weightlifting as in specific to the Olympic lifts, but I mean just in general lifting weights, you're going to be put in different positions when you do exercises. It's not going to be the same thing every single time. So you want to strengthen the rotator cuff from different angles too. So again, I really recommend that you guys include these 4 exercises into your workout program. They help with posture, shoulder stability, shoulder strengthening, and they help prevent injuries in the long run during exercises like bench press and dips. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please post them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.